really took care of me, and I'm glad I chose a local solution. I felt like they understood me better. Getting help with my debt has given me the energy, the headspace, and the time to make my dreams come true. A chance to start again with knowledge, support, and people in your corner. Are you looking for that kind of help? It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnosworthy.ca.
And welcome to Out of the Fog. I'm Lynn Hammond. Tonight my guest is Dr. Vianne Timmons, President of Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we're going to hear all about the new Core Science Building. Join us after these messages.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Each December, Vision makes a very special transformation into the nation's Christmas station.
This is what happy looks like, see?
Featuring 4 fantastic weeks of movies.
Are you Santa?
Music.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting tingling too.
And holiday cheer. Celebrate the season with the nation's Christmas station. All December live on Vision.
This is Rogers TV.
And we're back, now with Dr. Vianne Timmons. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know you were here on Out of the Fog last year, but there's so much going on at Memorial University.
It's a wonderful time to be here, Lynn. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. So one of the spectacular events, because it really was spectacular, that recently occurred was the official opening of the Core Science Building. So I have to say, I mean, I drive by that building almost every day, and I've seen it going up over time. And I think it's pretty incredible that learning started right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. Mm-hmm. This has been, a wonderful learning opportunity for the whole province. You know that there's been 2 million hours of tradespeople's time put into that building.
Incredible.
And it is a world-class building. And we in Newfoundland and Labrador deserve world-class. So it's going to be so exciting for the students and for the professors, but also for the community.
And so there was a large group of people, many dignitaries. But you know what? The reality is this new Core Science Building really is almost like a new start in many ways for sciences at Memorial University. Those silos are coming down and collaboration is really going to start. So maybe you could kind of tell us about what that means.
Well, it's science and engineering put into the same space with a lot of collision space and student space and collabs, so working together, so having a lab that has multiple purposes. That alone will make sure that innovation happens, creativity happens, and also there's a real outward face to industry in the whole building, in the design. We have the Ocean Frontier Institute that's going to be housed in the building. We're opening up, and you'll have to stay tuned for this, a new digital lab or hub focused on artificial intelligence and moving all the research and connections with industry forward on that. Also, a lab that brings in school-age children to be able to learn digital media, learn about computer science, learn about coding and programming. There are so many exciting things planned for the building.
Well, that's really interesting because I know, so for example, my daughter's doing career class this year in high school. And, often kids don't necessarily really know what they're interested in. So having those connections between the university and, high schools, all levels, but particularly particularly high schools, is really important.
And even elementary school. I know that my daughter and son went to veterinarian camp when we were in Prince Edward Island, and I was at the University of PI. What it taught them is they never want to be a vet. So sometimes it's a good thing.
For sure, for sure. And so, you know, one of the other things I've heard is the importance of these facilities, not just for, you know, the research of today, but also the research of tomorrow, and attracting the faculty to really drive innovation. Is that what you're hearing from your faculty members?
Absolutely, and not just innovation, but also it provides an opportunity for faculty to collaborate and bring in more research funds. And it's really important that Newfoundland Labradorians realize that last year, during COVID, we brought in $160 million of research funds to this province, and that is more than any other institution in Atlantic Canada. So, you know, it is an economic driver, and this building, the opportunities that it provides, will just enhance that.
And so, you know, people might not understand necessarily that a lot, or you know, much research that goes on is often done in collaboration with the community, you know, with companies, with others. And, you know, that's really going to be a big part of, you know, hopefully our economic future.
Absolutely, and we're building a new facility, a harsh environment research center that's going to be by the NRC that will help so much in terms of fishers and oil and gas production, and even just tourism, sailing, being out on in the ocean during harsh conditions. This research will really enhance safety and save lives. So I'm excited about all the work that's being done in this area. The whole blue economy, and this is a decade of the oceans, so we are leading in research in the blue economy in the world.
Well, and we're primely placed.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know the Premier talked about the Environment Conference and, you know, the importance of, you know, the oceans in terms of greenhouse gases, you know, recovery of the planet. But of course, there's a special, I call it a special guest at the Core Science building that a lot of people are really excited to see, and that's the whale skeleton. So can you tell us about that?
So the blue whale skeleton, it's very few of them are in Canada. I think there might be 3. And if we want the public to come in and see it, and we're going to build a whole education program around the blue whale, which is such a fascinating creature. And if you come into the Core Science, I want to encourage you to go up the stairs so that you're at eye level with the skeleton to see how massive it is. And we're going to do a contest to name it.
Oh,
so
excellent.
that will be out in the community to name the blue skeleton, or the blue whale skeleton. And I'm excited about the learning opportunities around it, the education to kids, bringing community into the building so they can see it and see how amazing. And it's kind of like a I would say a motto, or a model for the whole thing. We're going to be doing all kinds of themes around the whale as we go forward as a university.
Fantastic. Well, I know my son has, for a few years, had participated in the children's engineering programs at MUN. And, you know, I think that the community will, especially now we're coming out of COVID, we'll see. Anyway, you know, hopefully we'll have more opportunities for young people to be able to be more engaged at the university again. You know, I know that's something he really missed during COVID, was not being able to have that hands-on time, so.
And there's so much to be engaged in from our sports. And, you know, last night I was at the our choral choir down at the Anglican Church, to our science labs and our programs for students. You know, the university can do more, but is doing a tremendous amount with community and with industry. The whole genesis is the university, which some people don't quite understand. Right?
Yeah, and so I mean, you attended Memorial University, so did I. I mean, it must be pretty incredible to see this evolution of change.
Well, I only attended Memorial University as president. Because I didn't come as an undergrad, but many of my friends did. And I watch with excitement the changes that are happening. We have a new strategic plan called Transforming Our Horizons, focusing on interdisciplinary work, which this building, the Core Science building, will promote, focusing on community connections, which this building will promote, focusing on innovative research, dynamic programming, all that this building is poised to do. So this building almost embodies our strategic plan. It's future looking, and forward-looking.
And you're developing a new team, around the future of the university. That's really providing energy too.
Yes, we are. We have a whole group of new administrators. Since I've come the 18 months, and it's just coincidental. There's been a lot of people
it's only been 18 months, by the way.
There's a lot of people that are retiring. It's that age bracket, and so we are going through a whole revitalization in terms of faculty and staff, and it's an exciting time. Exciting time for Newfoundland and Labrador. We are really looking forward to enhancing our co-op opportunities, our career development, really getting our students out more in the community during practicums and social work, nursing, education. They all work in non-for-profits in the community and do an amazing job.
And so, I have to say, it's the core science building. I think I don't know the dollar figures, but I think there was like $100 million from the federal government, and there was provincial funding.
$25 million from provincial.
Yeah. And of course, so at the same time, there is also aging infrastructure. There were years where maintenance and repairs were postponed or delayed. So you're kind of in a balance. So how do you address that for people?
So we are putting a tremendous amount of money into the deferred maintenance. Over $7 million a year is going into deferred maintenance now. And we do have an aging infrastructure. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We are looking at accessibility issues and correcting them. We are having people trained by the Rick Hansen Foundation on accessibility audits. We're looking at our critical pieces in deferred maintenance. And, part of the challenge has been for us the whole supply chain. To fix an elevator, there's only 2 companies in which we can get parts from. And as you know, the whole supply chain in North America has been disrupted with COVID. So that's been, a challenge for us. And students have been concerned and have used their voice, which I love to hear when our students use their voice, to really remind us and focus us on accessibility issues. But with this new building, we'll be taking down part of the old science building. Okay. So we will be removing some of our, most significant deferred maintenance facilities. That will be positive. We want to make sure that a Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador has the buildings, the facilities, the environment to enhance learning and innovation.
And I really appreciate that, because I know, even some of my friends have commented, how can we improve access at the university? And so I guess for you, it's really about balancing planning for the future, but dealing with the realities of some of those buildings. You can't do it all at one time, but making strategic investments to address kind of those most important things while you plan for the future.
And we're also looking at an electrification of our boilers, which will be an important green project for the whole province. So we are looking forward in so many ways, but we have aging infrastructure. We recognize that, and it is going to take time and effort to make sure that the campus facilities are in great shape. We're at the same time looking at beautification of the campus, and we put out picnic tables this year for students and faculty and staff, and I love walking across the campus, Lynn, and seeing them full of people, of our students, faculty, staff, people who walk through the campus with their dogs. I want our campus to be a place that draws people in.
Absolutely. And so, I think that, for me, I'm really excited. I had hoped to attend the event, but, I'm really excited to see that science building. I think, especially for people who are alumni of the university, it's something that we're proud of. And, it's exciting to see that, we're on the edge of, these incredible research opportunities and, really contributing as part of Newfoundland and Labrador.
And I want the community to come in. Think of the blue whale. Bring the kids in. Bring the grandparents in. Just do a walkthrough and take a look at that magnificent skeleton that's hanging there. Once in a lifetime opportunity. And it is the community's building. So we want them to come in.
And public engagement has been such a big part of what you've been doing over the last 18 months. That public outreach, that wanting to hear. So what's coming up next with public engagement?
Well, it's a focus in our strategic plan to continue on the public engagement front. We're December 4th, we're having a big charity drive for the kids and for food for the community. We will always be focusing on reaching out because Newfoundland and Labrador, we have a special obligation to this province, and we will fulfill it as we go forward.
So let's talk about people, because a building is one thing, but the reality is, something as extraordinary as this. It really starts with ideas and passion and purpose. So, maybe we can talk about some of the people, where the vision came from for this, and who drove the work along the way.
So I have to give credit to our former president, Dr. Gary Kachanowski. This was his vision, and I get to reap the benefits of it, but this has been a project that's been almost half a decade in planning and pushing it. And, to have this quality, a world-class facility here, is a phenomenal, and it's important for students. I want to focus on the students. The building is built around students. There's a ton of student space. There's collision space. There's space for faculty, staff, and students to gather together, to create, to innovate. And that was Gary's vision at the time, to make sure that this was a world-class facility, but that was really student-focused. And he accomplished that. And it's really exciting. And our students in our province, our youth, they deserve to be educated in a world-class facility. They deserve to work with the best equipment. They deserve to work with professors who bring in research from all over the world. We need to invest in our youth, and this is an investment in our youth.
And, a part of it, too, is that working with the variety of faculty members is so important for their own academic and career growth. But people probably, we talked earlier about the research dollars, but, can you provide a little more perspective around what happens with those research dollars? And how that's delivered, and how students are also directly benefit from that funding?
Great question. So when you bring in $160 million worth of research, that money is used to support graduate students. And we have graduate students from all over the world. So it brings them in, it helps pay for them as research assistants. So they work with the professor on their research and on the professor's research. It brings resources in terms of state-of-the-art equipment, research equipment. That's what the grants so then we also hire research associates to come in, postdocs, to come and live in our province and work. Next door to me, there is a couple. He's a research associate. She's a postdoc. They have 4 children. They came here for this opportunity. So these research monies bring people to this province, and we know we have a demographic issue. And it's really important to recognize, think of $160 million brought into this province. If a company brought that in, people would be dancing on the rooftops. We need to dance on the rooftops to celebrate the research. And last week was Research Week at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador, and we got a chance to celebrate and share with the community all the things that are going on.
And like you said, when people come from, throughout the world, that brings so much culture and diversity to the university, but also to the community as a whole.
Yeah. So we have over 3,000 international students at the university. Close to 20% of them stay in the province. Now we'd like to increase that, but that's still a good number. That stay here, have their families here, are part of our community, and bring a whole different cultural experience. So you go downtown and you'll see, restaurants from Ethiopia or Korea, and often you can find that they're students that came out of Memorial. Or look at Genesis, which has these new startup companies with 43% are newcomers in the province. They're going to help drive the future economy.
And so, for those at home who might not recognize Genesis, but they're certainly familiar with the Battery and Signal Hill, and the beautiful building, maybe could you provide a little more information about Genesis Center?
So Genesis is part of Memorial University, and it focuses on supporting startup companies. So in Memorial, we have a focus on student entrepreneurs. So we have a whole program for students to help them think about startup companies and get them going. When you graduate, you can go and work with Genesis, which acquires grants to support innovative new companies. And so many successful companies have come through Genesis. one everybody's talking about is Verifin.
Of course.
3 Memorial students that went through our student entrepreneurship program and then went through Genesis, and then, you know, one of the largest tech company acquisitions in North America, really. So really, the potential and the possibilities that are there are you know, endless. And that is Memorial University. That is what we do. We supply support for startup companies in this province. And I don't think people are really aware of what an economic incubator we are and how we feed companies in this province.
And of course, you know, Memorial University also has, you know, provides the opportunities for those who go into other sectors, you know, nurses, doctors, social workers. You know, I think sometimes people don't recognize how incredibly comprehensive our university is.
And with multiple campuses. Now we have Corner Brook with the Grenfell campus. We have the Bombay Research Center right in Grossmoor that this summer had a phenomenal experience bringing in tourists to the region and the area, and they had a record number of visitors there. They do research, provide educational opportunity for students, and then we have Labrador, which now is a Labrador
Institute.
campus.
So exciting.
And we that is very future-looking in terms of the possibilities. They're just starting now academic programming for the Labrador region, where I grew up.
Of course.
So I'm really excited. We also have Marine Institute, world-class in terms of the oceans economy, and we have the Harlow campus in England, which some people don't really remember because of COVID. We haven't been able to take our students there and do our programming there, but it is a wonderful, wonderful asset and resource for the province and for Memorial.
So 18 months. You know, what do you see coming next? I mean, you came into the position at Memorial University right at the beginning, like literally the first week of COVID. You know, you've accomplished so much, you know, obviously with an incredible team around you. You know, what are your, I guess, your personal priorities? I mean, I know there's the strategic plan, but, you know, what are the things that are really important to you going forward?
So I'm really interested in being a student-centered institution and having a culture where our students are always core to what we do. So we're looking at a whole bunch of revisions in our admissions process right now, which I'm so excited about. I want a real focus on retention and the student experience. So if I can leave a legacy where, you know, students recognize that the university is there for them and focused on them, that's the kind of legacy that I'd be proud of.
That's wonderful, because I know, you know, you look at what I would call the students of the past, you know, you had to kind of fit into a specific box, you know, and now when we recognize the opportunities and the benefits for neurodiversity and, you know, the you know, assets that people bring, you know, I'm encouraged to hear, you know, how the admissions process will be changed.
So last year we admitted students in March. This year we admitted them in November. So that's a big change for the university, recognizing we've enhanced our scholarship program dramatically to make sure that we keep our best and our brightest here in Newfoundland and Labrador. That is the focus we want.
Well, we have 3 teenagers, so I'm sure at least a couple of them will be going to Memorial University.
We'll take good care of them, Lynn.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
It all started when I racked up some serious debt. Interest payments were going up, creditors were calling. Janes and Noseworthy came up with a plan. Knowing that the phone was going to stop ringing and that I was not in this alone was a huge relief. Bankruptcy or a consumer proposal or whatever help you get is not the end. It's just the beginning. A chance to start again with knowledge and support and people in your corner. Are you ready? Get out of debt. It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnoseworthy.ca.
Well, I certainly enjoyed that chat with Dr. Vianne Timmons. I'm always excited to hear about the new things going on at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new core science building myself, including the blue whale skeleton. I hope you'll do the same. Join us next time on Out of the Fog.
About this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us or send